Okay, well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Saturday night on Talking Sip. Of course, that's the place to be. On a Saturday night, that's the place to be. On a Saturday night on Talking Sip. And one of the first rules in Talking Sip is that you need to have a drink, okay? You need to have a drink, and what's the drink you're drinking? For me, I'm just sticking close to my red. I played safe, all right? Just a little dash here. Big glass is just for the sake of a big glass, you know. And let us just get on in. Hey,
Hey, Silver, how are you?
I'm cool, man.
Yeah,
Cool in the Malibu, you know. I'm trying to say, as I say.
it's a cool Mandeville.
No. Honey, cool in the Malibu. Cool in the
I
Malibu.
know, that's just saying cool Mandeville.
You're taking it home. You're taking it home straight back a yard.
Yeah. Cool Mandeville, man. How are you?
I'm cool, man. What are you drinking, man? What are you drinking?
I'm just drinking some sparkling water.
Mm. Just drinking some red here, you know. I'm good, you know. Cheers, man. Cheers, as they would say. As they
Cheers.
would. Well, it's a good Saturday evening here in the UK.
Yeah.
The weather is good. I mean, a few weeks back, I had to keep the door open, checking to see if any foxes is gonna get me or
And
so, because the weather was really hot. But now it is really it's getting back.
yeah,
You know.
it's the same here. The weather was beautiful today. Probably high of 87 degrees. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty nice. So it's a nice weather to go for
And
a hike, go for a run, or something like the sort, or just be outdoors on the water if you're close to the water. But it's
yeah.
good.
And ladies and gentlemen, O'Neill is all the way in Trump country. Sorry, it's not Trump country anymore, is it? It's Biden country.
It's Biden country, man.
I'm sorry.
It's Biden country.
It's Biden country. Oh, you mean the country which is asleep? Well,
Who is it said? Is it Beaneman or Bounty? Stop living in the past.
well, my philosophy is that I can't say too much because in the UK right now, it's like it's in a zone whereby they're not even too sure who is leading the whole thing. We have until September the 5th to know who
Yeah,
is going to be the new prime minister in the UK.
3 weeks ago. I'm surprised. It seems a couple of polls that saw Struss is leading by, if you believe all the polls, as much as 25, 26%.
Yeah.
Um, and it seemed that the opponent, what's his name, Risky.
Rich, was that deliberate calling him risky?
Yeah. And the interesting thing, I was reading a economics article, and he's talking about all the things that he's going to do if he became prime minister. And
Yes.
there's something that struck me. And oftentimes you have a lot of politicians, right, that have been in government for how many years. And the minute
Yeah.
they're running for a higher office, they're like, here's what I'm going to do when I get to the prime ministership. And you're like, hold on, you've been there for how long? 20 years. And it's just now you want to go promise to go make changes when you could have made changes. So,
You mean all
uh,
these ideas? All these ideas. You're wondering why were they keeping it a secret from the prime minister or the leader at that time, isn't it?
yeah, the thing is that you have all these ideas to make, the lives of the English people better. And the point of view is that, hold on, I'm going to keep it until I become the prime minister.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
think it's something the English, voters, well, this in case the party voters, because it's not a broader English voter, they have to take that into consideration, and do put someone in place that it's going to help through the turbulent times that are coming. So it'd be interesting to see. I suspect, and I could be wrong, that he's trying to negotiate something. He's trying to negotiate a position because there are multiple different options. I don't know if he wants a checker position, but I'm sure he's gonna. Maybe he wants to become the ambassador to the U.S., given he had a green card before. Maybe you never know.
So don't you think? Do you think it would be good for him to go back as the chancellor?
I don't believe so. If I was her, and obviously, I don't have any privy conversation. If I was her, I would not. I do believe just the same thing in the US and the UK. You need fresh ideas. And I think in this case, you need someone who is going to really look at inflation and figure out what are the levers that you're going to use to bring down inflation, bring down the prices for the normal folks within the UK. And it's the same thing with the US. Our inflation, I think, is what 7.1, which is pretty high, right? I did see, who was it? I saw a Turkey, which is surprising, was 80% inflation, right?
Yes.
So I think if I were her, I would put together new blood, a very cabinet that reflects the sort of the people, but also young and old together. I think if you look at the U.S., the average age of the Congress is 79 years old.
Yes.
So there's a huge gap, right? So if you're in your 40s or even your 30s, your perspective are really being represented at the policy level. So right.
But thinking about what you said there, and let me just say, ladies and gentlemen, Anil and I, we just got carried away and talking. We tend to do that for the first half an hour of the show. Thanks for those joining in on Instagram, those on Facebook, those on YouTube, those on Twitter. Remember to like and share. The main topic tonight is a nation brain drain, greener pastures, or better opportunities. Why are we Jamaicans overseas? Think about that. Why are you coming overseas? I just was speaking to a prospective nurse just today who is planning to go to the UK in November. So actually, it would have been great if she come on and fresh, and then come on back another year after to say what it is. But before we do that, and you talk about fresh new persons, and you have these old folks, Lisa Hannah in Jamaica, she's a young fresh blood coming up, and she's demitting, leaving office, or not interested. What is that saying?
It was surprising. It was a surprising move, which it was sort of unexpected. But without I don't know much her thinking behind. Hey, I'm giving up representative politics, which is the term she used. But then you probably look at it, and in her mind, she's not making the impact she could be making out of politics, right? Maybe she made the decision to say, you know what, I could make a bigger impact outside of politics, because politics is such a blood sport. Because remember, if I remember correctly, she won her seat by like what, 20 votes or something like that.
Very limited. And then when they did the magisterial recount, I think 14 was it, and then she got it by 30 or 24 or something like that.
Right.
When the magisterial recount.
So in her mind, she has a constituency that is pretty split, and she's the shadow minister for foreign affairs, right? Which is an interesting role that they gave her, and I think she might have come to the conclusion and said, you know what, I'm 46, 47 years old, right? And she might say, you know what, I could be a bigger impact outside of politics than in politics. And if you sort of, you look at, for example, people like Michelle Obama, right? Never represented politics, but she has a huge impact within the communities here. You look at Oprah Winfrey, using her platform, the Oprah Winfrey Show, to sort of create impact. So she might be thinking that, I'm so limited in what I could do, and maybe I should step back and go figure out how to help the Jamaican people in the areas that she feels passionate about. So, but you could only wish her well, and hopefully she has a big platform. She's former Miss World, right? So there's a platform, right? And I'm sure her path could have been different had she taken, the roles of, if you look at former Miss World. But we talked to, I'm trying to remember, we talked on the show maybe 2 years ago or last year, former Miss Universe, I think she was Jamaican, but Bahamas? No, not Bahamas. She's in the Netherlands and she wrote a book.
In the Netherlands, I mean, is that Vita or Lester?
No, I don't remember her name. She remember you had her on the show. I forgot her name. But I think Lisa, you can only wish her well. But Lisa has ambition, and I think for her, politics, she dabbled in it, and now I think she's like, you know what? Now it's time for me to go do something else.
But if you're the leader of the party, how do you feel knowing that the person is saying that they're going to leave in 2-3 years' time? Would you feel comfortable with someone there, or you say, pack your bags soon, so we can start to plan?
Right. Someone would have to sort of let us know, but I don't believe Mark could. She has to resign because she's elected people, right? So it's not like she could say, "Yeah, I'm gonna wait." Mark could say, "Well, rather wait. Let's do X, Y, Z." But if she leaves, it triggers a by-election, right? It triggers a by-election, and given the closeness of the vote before, if I was Mark, I wouldn't want to trigger a by-election. So I would probably say to Lisa, stay on until the next general election, because you don't want to leave that seat to the current ruling party. So I think Mark is probably thinking,
man.
Thank you. What's going on, Mr. Lester?
Evelyn, my missing in action friend for the last few months.
Missing in action? Who is really missing in action? Come on.
I'm giving you and Vita. I say Vita, Gil, and Lester, Gil. I'm giving you guys time. So, we give you guys a platform.
Yeah. Backside bashment.
Anil, it's nice to see you.
Poppy, sure.
Anil, I have tons of respect for you.
First there's one and there's two. Talk and sip gone.
Talk and sip gone wild.
Gentlemen, there's a part 2 Talk and Sip, which is the international connection, whereby people meet and talk and sip, and they join.
The dating show, bringing people together.
bringing people together. Different. Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you guys drinking?
This is America Store.
Okay. And Vita, what are you drinking?
The same thing.
Oh my days. So not even Crown. Jeez.
No.
Hey,
I twin them.
Hey, Onion. Let's now say what you know.
Yes. I'm a full-fledged Ochi man now.
He's a full-fledged Ochi man.
Big up Ochi.
Well, we can't keep talking about Jamaica without bringing in somebody from Jamaica. So let me bring in Jacqueline Bryan, the president of the Social Workers Association in Jamaica. Let's just see if she can put some context to this. Hi, Miss Bryan. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you all doing? I'm drinking water.
You're drinking, well, it doesn't matter. That's Crystal Punch. That's awesome.
That's the word I should have used. I'm drinking Crystal Punch.
Exactly. You're
and
the
I'm
only one
inside because the rain just came down so heavy the last time I was back in my backyard.
Yeah.
And I'm boasting about me sweet sop and my sour sop tree and all of those things. But this time I'm inside because the rain came down, which is so nice. It's been so hot.
And we could hear some duppy peanut wall in the background the time, innit?
Yes, you did. Yes, you heard some people in the background.
You know, O'Neill, I don't know if you ever met Jacqueline before. Did you come on the show and Jacqueline was there? O'Neill?
I don't believe so, but great
Yeah.
to meet you virtually.
Hi, Jacqueline.
Hi, O'Neill. How are you doing?
Doing good.
Great. Yes.
And let's say now he's somewhere in the world, somewhere man, this lady here named Vita.
Hi.
Watching.
You can't just say this lady here. So you can't do my wife, so brother.
Well, that is why I did it like that. Want to see if you can come out and stand your ground. It's not
Nice to meet you, my beautiful Jamaican sister. It's really nice to meet you. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking Crystal Punch.
Oh, there you go. Stay healthy. Love it.
Yeah, drinking Crystal Punch here.
Yeah. Well, guys. The topic tonight is the news have been in Jamaica talking about a nation brain drain. Some are saying freedom pastors, better opportunity. I was. Let me just read this bit here because
Sorry, Silver. Could you turn on the background music?
Sorry. Forget that. Lester not in the dancing mode now. I'm in a chill mode. I'm in a dancing mode all the while. Let me just turn off the music for you. Since him sort of get serious now. And then with it. It's you. I was doing it for Lester. It's for your honeymoon thing, and
I only listen to Vibes Carter. Sir.
Okay, all right.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. I was doing this reading here, and I just saying brain drain occurs when a country's highly skilled and intelligent citizens emigrate. It's described as when a country loses its most educated and talented workers to other countries through migration. The trend is considered a problem because the most highly skilled and competent individuals leave the country and contribute their expertise to the economy of other countries. The country they leave can suffer economic hardship because those who remain don't have the know-how to make a difference. Now, it's interesting, just before we started the show, someone contacted me and just was reminding me, I said, where am I again? Is it the USA or UK? And then she said, actually, she's on her way to come to the UK in November as a nurse in a hospital. Now, if you look at it that way, so a nurse now is on its way to the UK. So that means to say there's going to be one less nurse in Jamaica, unless they're replenishing or churning out nurses in Jamaica as well. And I was speaking to another friend today and said, Silburn, it's not that people sometimes leave because they have a choice in the sense of, okay, I just want to go to America, I want to go to the States, the world is my oyster, but they're doing it out of sheer necessity because of hardship, and they're really looking better life because they want to look, they care about their children, their family, and they're being patriotic at the same time. Patriotism, I don't believe, is whereby you stay a yard and die. Die a natural death. But anyway, that's just my opening there. Who want to go first?
Let me jump in first, Silburn.
Sure, jump in first. I thought you saved the best for last, but go on, sir.
No. Sometimes the best.
He's saving the best for last.
Different things in that
but I'll come back to that first point, to this point. Quickly. Lisa Hanna has served her constituency. But what has happened in her constituency is that there was a breakdown between she and her councillors, right? And so that is what caused the poor turnout in her votes in the last election. That's one. Two, she had an agreement, and this is by way of source and people close to them tell me, she had an agreement with her husband, Mr. Richard Lake, that this term, the last term would have been her last term, and she asked that, she just want to serve one more term. So them agree, but she has to go and help him run his corporations, his business, right? Namely Burger King and the other companies. The thing, she won by 31 votes. 31 votes. 31 votes, yes. The thing is, whether or not they had that agreement, she would not have won. the next general election, just because of the breakdown in the relationship between she and her councillors. As an MP, you need your councillors on board with you to help you carry out your mandate, because the councillors are the one who does most of the work with the citizens. They're the one who lays down with the people.
They're the grown people.
Grown people, yes. And she has lost that totally. And what I've seen in the last few weeks, few months, is where the party hierarchy basically are moving somebody else on the seat to replace her. So it was inevitable that she had to leave. And over her performance in that seat, which is the only seat that the Jamaica Labour Party has not contested and won. They won it in 1983 when the People's National Party, under the leadership of Michael Manley, did not contest the stop election. So that's the only time they won it, but it was uncontested. But since that seat has been created, it has been the People's National Party that has held that seat. But the thing is that O'Neill said earlier that he was surprised of her action of resignation. I am in no way, shape, or form surprised. If you're watching the political landscape, right? She has been hinting at this several times, and her popularity in the party is very, very low. She could not even win a VP seat. Now, if all this Miss World thing and whatever she claimed to be was working or was effective, a simple VP seat was something what you should be able to galvanize your delegates to come out for you, and she couldn't even win a VP seat. Plus, she has no other position in the party. Apart from her shadow cabinet position, she has no officer position in the party, and that tells a lot.
But she's a shadow minister of foreign affairs.
Yes, but I'm saying apart from her shadow ministry position, right? She has no other official office in the party. With that said, with this brain drain thing, I don't think it applied to Jamaica that much, right? I would have said that it would have affected Jamaica back in between 58 to 62 and onwards into the 70s, when during the Windrush situation and when we had high migration in the 70s. But when you look at what is happening now in Jamaica, more people are staying in Jamaica and making a living in Jamaica. Not saying that a lot of people are not leaving, but a lot more people are homegrown, staying in Jamaica, go to university in Jamaica, and are making a headway. Persons also who don't have a tertiary level education have found creative ways in entrepreneurship. So I think this report was based on the population size, because we have Guyana and other countries have higher migration rate than Jamaica and well for other countries. But I think this is per population size. Jamaica has been graduating tertiary every year, high school every year. So I don't think it affects Jamaica that much.
We're gonna bring in another person. Let me just break it down. What you're actually saying is that brain drain doesn't affect Jamaica, or doesn't affect Jamaica that much. What are you saying?
Not that much.
So okay, O'Neill, go ahead, and then bring Jacqueline. Kiddies, when you're ready, I'll bring you in. Yeah, just show yourself. Yeah.
So I look at it different, Lester. So when you look at brain drain or human capital flight, and Jamaica is ranked second, right? If you look at the data, Jamaica is ranked second in terms of human capital flight. And when you look at it, it's folks who are the teachers, the doctors, the lawyers that leave Jamaica and go to the UK, the US, Canada, and other places. Jamaica is actually suffering from that. The data has shown, right? You hear the Prime Minister a couple of months ago talk about the fact, one, they have to bring skilled workers, and we're not even talking about that level. But still, even at the skilled worker level, when you have a plumber that's trained in Jamaica, and they could go to New York City and make $100 an hour, they're going to go to New York City. So when you look at nurses, you look at doctors, you look at teachers, there's actually a brain drain. And it's hard for Jamaica and any other developing country to sort of future looking when the population that is supposed to think through and innovate is moving to other countries. So the data show that Jamaica has been affected from it. There's another perspective. There are economists that will say it's actually good for Jamaica in the sense that there are remittance that goes back to Jamaica and it helped the sort of development of the Jamaican population. But it still don't solve the issue around brain drain. And this has been a thing for Jamaica for the last 40 years. Michael Manley started it when, well, I forgot the term they used back then. But when you look at the data itself and you look at the fact that there are things in Jamaica that needs to get done, and it's a lot of people like myself are in the US, there's an impact. But to your point, Lester, there are Jamaicans who are stayed, who are, you know, doing things at macro level to help their country. I have a good friend of mine that owns one of the number 2 company in the Caribbean. And when you talk to him, he'll never leave Jamaica, right? He'll never leave Jamaica. So there's a population there that will never leave. Instead of it, Lester, when you look at the data, Jamaica is actually suffering from a brain drain.
Yeah. Can I just say hi to Kitties? Kitties, how are you?
Evening, guys. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Gale. Special.
We're sort of losing your connection slightly.
I'm on flow.
You're on flow.
You know how that.
You have to switch the line.
Jacqueline, what's your take? I like to get involved with persons. Miss Paris said Mr. Gailey are wrong, very wrong. More people are leaving Jamaica, and brain drain is affecting Jamaica immensely. I don't know about anyone else, but I can say the healthcare system is suffering based on many of us are leaving on a monthly basis. Let's leave Gemini note there. Bob, I'm sorry. Jacqueline, what's your take on the opening?
Brain drain is happening, and it happens every year. Statistics from 2017 speak about 480, approximately 480 mathematics teachers and science teachers leaving Jamaica in 2017, right? And the solution to that is that the Ministry of Education offered 2020, they offered full scholarship to anybody coming out of high school who were very good in math and science, and we're offering them scholarships, full scholarships, 4 years, 3 years, and to come back to teach. That was the solution for them. But they had, and they've been asking retired math teachers to come back in. They've been asking some retired math teachers to come back in. In terms of social workers, we have social workers who are leaving. We get letters of requests from the UK. That's the Jamaica Association of Social Workers, from the UK, for Jamaicans who are leaving. That's the social workers. And we have to say whether they are a part of the association, how long they've been a part of the association, what have they contributed to the association. So we get that request on a regular basis for social workers who are going away. So you have them going because, as Lester was saying, we produce social workers, teachers, and business, persons in business, medicine, every year. But what it is that the experts, the ones who have because they're looking for persons with 3 to 5 year experience. That's what is happening. The recruiters come in every year, and I get the recruiters' email telling me when they're coming in, for teachers as well as for social workers. Can't talk about medicine, can't talk about business, but for teachers and social workers, I get the email saying, we have this particular agency coming in, they're coming in this period. How can you work with us to facilitate us getting social workers or teachers especially from the UK. I don't get it as much from the US. And I have 1 and 2 from Canada, but mostly from the UK. We have that coming in and asking those questions. So we have persons leaving. Reason for leaving, one, they're leaving because, especially in social work, where social workers is not a recognized profession in Jamaica. So they're not paid on the salary scale on which they're paid. So they work in some organizations for the 3-year period. Right, so writing fast. For the 3-year periods, and then after the 3-year period. And they have, I can speak to colleagues who have left here with a bachelor's in social work after 3 years, and organizations that are recruiting them will say, we will assist you in getting your master's. We will help you to finance your master's. We will facilitate you finance your master's. So don't worry about that. And that is what is not happening in Jamaica.
And can I just add,
I was talking to a teacher up to today, and she's saying, I want to go and do, most of us as teachers don't bother to go do the masters because 1, when we go and do it, we get pit on feet. 2, the amount of money that we have to find in order to do our masters, and I can speak to that, right? The amount of money that we have to find to do our masters, whether we're doing it in social work or whether we're doing it in education, nobody's assisting us. And if you approach the Ministry of Finance and say to them, okay, fine, we're asking for a grant to study, the process takes forever and a day. This is what teachers are telling me. This is what social workers are telling me who are working with government.
Yes.
It takes forever and a day. So why not take the opportunity to go away where somebody's saying to me, fine, if you don't have a master's, we're going to assist you to get a master's. One of the other issue is housing. Housing. National Housing Trust was set up to assist. And if you can read the headline that just happened, I don't have a problem with the $27 million house that they've just done in New Kingston. But when it is that you're at a particular age, you're told to go and look for a house on open market. And you cannot find the deposit. You cannot find an affordable house because there is a qualification where when you apply to housing trust, you have to be earning a certain amount of money to qualify. And when you qualify for that, if you're trying to qualify that by yourself, you can't find a house for $7.5 million.
Jacqueline, can I stop you there? Because I'm picking up from the professions, students, so nurses, teachers, social workers. But let's bring in Kiddis Cowens, because Kiddis is an entrepreneur. And I think there's a distinction there with entrepreneurs. What's your take on this, Kiddis?
All right. First of all, brain drain is not something that we've all established so far. Is
you come in and out
on their
Flow need to sort out their brain drain issues.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah,
You're breaking up.
But you're going in and out.
Oh, I don't know. I'm on WhatsApp.
Yeah, keep going. Sure,
Communities that people based on what they think. They are not making a decision to the country or to the economy. It is possible to stay here.
We're missing out. We're missing out. No, we're hearing you, but we're missing out key words.
Every other word we're hearing, so we're missing the complete sentence.
You're missing the complete sentence.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to wheel up. Come again? I don't know.
Yeah. You want to disconnect and come back. So there's something that Jacqueline, you said.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. I think when you look at, Jamaican leaves for various reasons, right? They leave because they're looking for better opportunities. But there's also a lot of Jamaicans who have stayed there. And you're right in terms of infrastructure. I think safety is one of the main reasons, right? There's a lot of people who are professionals. I have a couple of friends who are doctors. They would have made it well in Jamaica. And they left and their number one reason is safety for them and their family. But I think the government is doing something that is interesting that I do believe will address the housing issues. Because if you look at the new infrastructure in terms of roadways, when the Mandeville lane comes in, you could stay in Mandeville. You don't have to come to Kingston because now it takes you an hour or whatever time frame to drive. So hopefully that will help in terms of more affordable housing, because now I could stay in Mandeville, live in Mandeville, and I don't have to drive. I don't have to have a house in Kingston. But I think this is where the government has struggled for years to try to figure out how to solve the brain drain. And I think some of it is economics, right? The Jamaican government, if you look at the average teacher salary, you go to Georgia, for example, probably about $45,000 a year. The Jamaican government just don't have the resource to do it. And I think this is where I think the diaspora can help, right? One of the things that I see the African diaspora that does a really good job that we don't is they lobby every governor, every congressman to say, hey, let's go do trade in Africa. Let's go do, technology exchange. We don't do a lot of that. So I think there are things that we could do, because I think if you look at the statistics from 2015 to 2022, Jamaica is at the highest now. So it's from 0 to 10. Jamaica is 9.5 now, right? 2015, there were 7.1.
Yeah, that's the statistic. 9.5 in terms of brain. We're number 2.
Right. So over time, there's going to be a huge impact on, the things that Jamaica needs to do to prepare for the future, especially if you look at technological advancement, and you're losing your STEM teachers, you're losing your math teachers, you're losing your social workers, right? And then you have to constantly replenish that. And then even if you say, I'm going to bond you for 4 years, after that 4 years gone, I'm gone. Right. So there's things that we have to figure out how to help, and the interesting thing, a lot of economics, like if you look at IMF and you look at World Bank, they'll tell you it's a good thing for the Jamaican people. And the reason is because they say the remittance is coming in.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It's like
I agree with you. Yes.
It's like, it's okay because you're going to remittance in turn. Right. So
because if you look at it, right, and this platform right here.
One second. Let me just say hi to Vanessa. Vanessa, hi. Good evening. I don't know. I think she came in frozen a bit. Okay, you keep talking, Vanessa, and I'll.
Peter.
Yes. Peter, you keep talking. Yeah.
Right.
On, Peter, yeah.
So Anil, I agree with you as far as, okay, so it is what it is. We're having the brain drain. And I also have a consulting firm. A lot of people reach out to me to ask me, can we get nurses from Jamaica? Because our work ethics and our morals, the way that we work, it's top of the line when we go to different countries. But we have to look at the positive side. How is it affecting Jamaica in a positive way? Right, so most of us are building back in Jamaica. Most of us are sending money. But if you look at the remittances, you say that's going back to Jamaica. It's benefiting Jamaica right now. Instead of us staying in Jamaica and begging the government or asking the government for help, and it's the fact that the resource is not there for all of us in the sense of getting it from the government. So go out and do it for yourself and come. A lot of us are building or helping or sending back to Jamaica. That is doing better for Jamaica than we staying there and try to depend on the government. That's the positive side of it. So we have to look at the pros and cons, that it's not just bad. And look at it. I have a girlfriend in Jamaica, been a nurse over 20 years, and she's living a mediocre life. I have a girlfriend that came up here two years ago, and she just bought a house in Atlanta for $500,000. She bought a car. 2 years she's been in America as a nurse, and she's able to buy a $450,000 house and a car, and still is trying to buy one in Jamaica. Could she have done that within 2 years in Jamaica? No. So we have to look at the part, and she's spending in Jamaica right now. So we have to look at the positive side of what is happening. Can the government do more with the resources that they have? Then that's a situation that needs to be worked out.
Yeah.
Maybe Lester can talk about the government part as far as what they should or can't or should do. But
no, Kiddis works out of the office of the Prime Minister under the fellowship program, so she's better suited for that because if she gets her audio sorted out, she can explain the fellowship program in detail of how it is assisting Jamaica. They gather a bunch of bright people and they scatter them over the agencies to help to revamp the agencies and train and come up with ideas to make Jamaica better. But if Kiddis get her audio sorted out, she can explain that better.
And then let me welcome Vanessa. Vanessa, it's been a good time.
Hi, Vita. How are you?
What are you drinking? Are you drinking tea?
Yeah, you can tell I'm in somewhere where it's kind of cool, it's kind of warm. You know what I mean?
Welcome.
I'm in Tealand.
Where are you?
I'm in Tealand. Silver knows
You're in
where
Tealand.
that is.
Okay. So Vanessa, what's your take on because I shared some things with you. What's your take on the whole brain drain factor and Jamaica, which is going on for years, but what's your take on it? Vanessa, you gone again? Are you there?
To me, and I mean, I'm not going to be popular. I'm usually not. But to me, we are 60 years old. Right? We're 60. Are you hearing me?
60-year-old from what?
Are you hearing me?
I'm not 60 years old.
I'm 60-year-old from what? We're 60-year-olds. 60. We're hearing it. We're hearing it. 60-year-old from what?
We are 60-year-old of what we call what emancipation or independence. Let go the bird and celebrate all of these things. Just check out a human being at 60 years old. I mean, you know, you'd be near to retirement. So I know there's slavery and there's all these economies that are light years ahead of us by virtue of what they've robbed us. Yes, that's a fact. But I'm thinking that we've got to recover now. And I really feel as a Jamaican that there is no commitment towards growing the economy. And to me, getting rid of the brain is one way to keep the status quo, because I mean, if you can keep the people poor, you can keep things and let go the bird. It's like you just let go. You're right. When they were letting go the bird,
Hold on. I just sang them let go the bird.
Yeah, because them just let go the bird.
You need to let that go.
They just let go the bird.
You need to let that go.
To get food and carry back to the nest. And how I feel as a people is like our government is pimping us out. Like we've got barrel government who doesn't mind. They're not serious to me. They haven't got a commitment towards growing the economy. Otherwise, we would be better. That's how I feel. And I think they're parts of our culture, parts of our economy. I mean, we can go on criticizing the government as I like, but what I want is a real commitment to brainstorming as to how we're going to move from here so we can stop pimping out our people, because a lot of people are abroad and they're not happy, you know? They're not happy. And I just feel that our country, if you keep letting go your birds, letting go your brains, you're not gonna have some not so bright people there in it. And if that's in the education sector that you're letting go the brilliant birds, then we're really gonna have more on our hands.
Vanessa, you're a brilliant woman. You're a brilliant woman. I mean, we have the American top of the line CIA, FBI, whatever he is here. We have
O'Neill, we're talking.
We're talking about Lester.
We have an attorney that's representing us. So all over, we're in Netherlands, all over the world. We have Jamaicans who are brilliant. The government did not let us go. We chose to go to a level because we are motivated ourselves to go to another level, where if all of us right here had stayed in Jamaica, we would have never been where we are right now at the level where we are.
Vita, Sister Vita, you can speak for yourself, but I can tell you that I'm one person who, you know, and you're right, if it's your self-determination that to go abroad because you think it makes you better, but somebody like me, if you see me abroad, it's not really by choice. It's because the opportunities are not there. And
the opportunity not there in Jamaica. The opportunities is not there in Jamaica. Is that what you're saying?
The opportunities are not there to retain people like me, like us.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
So it's not by choice, it's by force, because if our economy was doing well, then we wouldn't be there. And they have this barrel mentality because we've got 2 barrel political parties.
I met people down here in Jamaica.
Government. They just want to sit down, put the birds, send us out the nest, and they stay in the nest and collect our remittances, and they're not leaving. What they do is they pass. We have a kingdom at the moment, not ruled. Well, I'm not talking about the queen, but we got a kingdom because these people go from generation to generation with the political system. And by virtue of their socialization and upbringing, they're not much different from their parents. It's like, the same clothes, the same thing that just keeps going around and around and around. We are very rich people when you look at how we conduct ourselves in even the cultural industries are failing, because as we said in another show before, the festivals are being kept abroad. We're not keeping enough festivals, for example. The cultural aspect of us is gone abroad as well, to the point that people have taken it over. And I want to know, apart from keeping events like Let Go the Bird, what other events is the Ministry of Culture?
I don't know what event is called Let Go the Bird.
Emancipation, and the country was dancing to Lego the Bird. Watch it, drunker. I don't know who's a drunker, by the way.
Independence celebration of Jamaica. It's the independence. The proud Jamaicans were celebrating being a proud Jamaican. And it doesn't matter where you are. You're on the show right now saying you're a proud Jamaican and you want Jamaica to be better. We were celebrating the independence, and we're going to be proud of saying that.
I don't feel so independent. I don't feel so independent.
Okay, let's hear what Raymond Treasure said, the principal of York Castle High School. This September, several academic programs will be dropped from our high school curriculum because principals are not able to replace the teachers who have migrated. And unfortunately, teachers' colleges are not turning out enough graduates for the technical subjects: visual arts, mechanical and engineering, electrical and electronic engineering, computer science, music. Things are not looking good at all. And then further up, another principal is actually saying high teacher migration rates are raising a new threat to school administration beyond the struggle of stretching. Now, I mentioned it in my walk and talk this morning that it is one thing for people to go, but who is replenishing them? Are they being replenished?
It's same thing in America too. Same thing in America. Teachers are leaving the classroom in America. And look at America compared to Jamaica. And we don't have enough teachers here for our students. Look at the American infrastructure and the richness of America compared to Jamaica.
But
O'Neill, sorry.
Wait. There's a way to look at it from a positive, right? We do live in a globalized world, right? And the movement of human capital this is not new. When I went to Edwin Allen High School, we had a number of teachers from Cuba. And if you look at Jose Marti and you look at there was a ton of teachers that came in from other Caribbean islands to augment the tertiary education back then. And you're still going to have the same thing. I think the question becomes, right, we're not going to stop the brain drain. People move from Jamaica back to Jamaica. The question then becomes, how does the government capitalize on it? The Philippines does it brilliantly, where the Philippines, they'll train nurses, they'll train doctors, but if you take them abroad, you have to provide whatever percentage back to the government. And they have a huge swath of nurses. So I think sometimes we cannot stop the brain drain. Yes, Jamaica lose 87 or 89% of their tertiary folks. But there's a positive side on the remittance. The question then becomes how you do the exchange, right? Because I know for a fact, for example, I met with someone this morning who's in DC, and they're back in Jamaica. They're trying to do business back into Jamaica, and she's been there for 6 months trying to start up factories and stuff like. And she said, O'Neill, it's the hardest thing that I've ever done is to do stuff in Jamaica, right? To the point that she had to come back here to the US to say, you know what, I need to reset, right, before I try again. So I think we have to look at it that, yes, there's brain drain. You're not going to stop it because people are going to go where they think they could better their life. And I don't blame them. If you take the opportunity, go take the opportunity. And I think every one of us who sits on this forum, if we have the opportunity, we'll take it. You know, I would say, you know, if I stayed in Jamaica, I would be fine, right? And some of it is because I come from a family that done pretty well for themselves. So I'll be fine if I stayed in Jamaica. So I think we just have to figure out, yes, there's brain drain, but then what next?
Okay, can I ask this question? One second. I want Lester to answer this question from Claudine Williams. I want to bring in persons. There are some pros. What is that percentage like? For example, one of my cousins came to the US as a nurse, and all her family came with her. How does Jamaica benefit in these cases? Because they say people benefit. Break that down, Lester.
Silburn, that is not the rule. That's the exception, right? Because most people, the whole family don't migrate, right? So that is a rare case where somebody and them whole family migrate. Most of my family still in Jamaica. We still have children in Jamaica, right? Yes. But what I want to address is what I would like on this show, and I'm begging your indulgence. When persons make certain statements, please put the word opinion. When Vanessa is going to say the Jamaican government is not focusing on growth, that is not true. Because when you look at the GDP in the first 3 quarters of this year, right, it's a positive. When you look at last year, it's a positive, right? So her statements are not true. If she has an opinion, that's fine, right? She has a right to an opinion. When you look at the unemployment rate that has dropped significantly, the lowest in its history. Now, I mean, it is not the highest paying jobs that are available, but it's people that are still employed, right? And some of it may be short-term employment, it may be medium-term employment, some of them is long-term employment, right? But people are still employed. What we want is just to be a little bit more factual in what we are saying. Now, with the thing is that people migrate and people move all the while, right? That's a given. We can't stop that. What we have to understand is that, are we asking our government to do something that they can do or that they cannot do? Because they're saying, pay teachers more, pay police more, pay nurse more, pay this more, right? And is there any money to do what we're asking the government to do? It is 26,000 teachers, 26,000. It's almost about 13, 14,000 police officers, right? And when I was speaking with Marsha Smith, MP Marsha Smith, who is the state minister in the Ministry of Finance, right? She has over 1,000 different agencies dealing with, and she said all of them want to raise a pay. How do we manage that?
Okay. Now that's a good.
Let's start. You have to give me a chance to answer.
Let Vanessa.
Fine. Sorry.
Sorry, madam. I'm after Lester.
Go ahead.
I take the point that you, based on the statistics coming out, that you're saying that there has been some small growth, however small it be. So you're saying that you think there is a commitment towards nation growth, but there are several issues here, and to what our teacher colleague had said before, though, just saying that when people go back home, he said that he had someone who came to set up something and had to leave. I suffer the same fate. Because when you go back home, that's why I when I say they're barrel government, I speak from my own personal experience and opinion. And I'm very strong about this, because if you're seen as being, they goad you to leave the country when you go back from abroad, you will get goading everywhere you go. If you're going to set up business, somebody say, where I come back, yes, I come set up for. if you're going to a job and you leave England and I go back home, one of the supervisors, she asked me, she said, what you come home for, why you not leave? And they single-handedly did everything that they could. Even if you're not careful and you go out there and you get yourself involved with a partner, they are going to push you to go back abroad because they want to go. Jamaicans have been socialized into not believing in the culture, the country, and they don't see Jamaica as nowhere. When you hear the talk about Jamaica, the citizens see it as dismal. They see it as there's no hope, and the only way out is foreign. Now, how do we change that mindset? Because you cannot grow an economy and a country when the population itself have turned against the nation that you're trying to grow and sees the only way out as outside of the country. What are we going to do about that?
Okay, let's go to Jacqueline.
But that's not new. That's not new. That mentality of us seeing we cannot only achieve outside of Jamaica is not new. That has been something we have been having Jamaican migrating from before independence. Right? It is not new. It is not new. What we all need to understand.
Doesn't mean it's right though. It doesn't mean it is right because it's old.
It's not right, but as when I spoke to Sil earlier, what my thing is, what's the solution?
Yes.
How do we address this? How do we change this? How do we change this whole idea that Jamaica is not the place to live and raise children and have an economy and grow?
I want us to be
I'm one of those Jamaicans that went to school here, high school, university. I'm one of those persons who have worked here all my life. I've never lived anywhere else. I've traveled, but I've never lived anywhere else. And I say to people, one of the reasons why is that whenever I leave here, I go away as a social worker to see the underbelly of every single country that I've gone to.
Okay. I want O'Neill to come in, and then after O'Neill, I want to go on to Kiddies. But one of the things I want to look at is something what Lester said about the police want this, the nurses want that, the doctors want that, everybody
that
wants
was what I wanted to address. And
and if the government is not able to do that, how can it be achieved then? So O'Neill and then Kiddies. Yes.
So I want us to be careful of generalizing this conversation.
Yes.
Because I have a ton of friends who decided they come here, they've gone back, they've made business, and some of them are doing much well than people who have migrated here. So I want us to be careful how we generalize, because there's nurses, there are teachers, there's doctors that have had the opportunity to migrate here and decide to stay in their country.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a set of the Jamaican population. Doesn't matter the experience, doesn't matter the opportunity, they love to stay in Jamaica and help Jamaica. I have plenty of friends. The other thing in terms of, I think there's a lot of emotional reaction, right? And I go back to the point that I make. One cannot stop migration. People are going to migrate for various reasons.
That's true.
Right. People are going to go back and forth. The question becomes, Jamaican, I believe, is $13 billion a year in gross revenue, right? So if you say you pay, I think Lester, you said 26,000. If you pay them on average $40,000 US, right? That's $1 billion. You do the same thing for the police. All of a sudden, your human capital investment is $6-7 billion, right? So the Jamaican government has to work with what they have, right? So the question now becomes, to Jacqueline's point, how do we fix that? And I'm of the mindset that the Jamaican government should take advantage that the world is looking for skilled labor, right? And STEM. The issue, I think, if you look at the data and you go back 20 years, you'll see that the graduates from high school are not going to teacher's school. They're not going whatever school, right? In the mass that they used to do. When I graduated high school, When I graduated high school, I would say probably about 80% of the folks I went to teachers' college. That is not happening anymore. So I think there are ways to address stuff. So we have to figure out how to create a pipeline and a pull. And the Jamaican government just need to take advantage of it and say, you know what, I'm going to lose 50%, 60%, right? Yeah, but how do we ensure that we have enough to help Jamaica move to the next level? Yeah. Because we can't stop migration. It's always going to be.
Yeah. Let's bring in Kiddies. Kiddies, are you there now? With
She's online now.
She's online.
But can we hear her?
Yeah, I want her.
You can look at Elon Musk Starlink.
Yeah. Corey Hyde. Corey, you have been involved with Jamaica and the diaspora and back and forth. Corey, are you there? Yes.
Yes, Silver. I'm here. I've been having some video issues, so.
We see a lovely picture shaking there or something like that, so that's all right.
All right, cool.
What's your contribution here, sir?
All right. We have to remove our chess from the conversation. There's too much chess in this conversation. Lower chess a bit. We could just get back to basics. Right? Yeah, man. Too much chess.
Let's stop.
We are.
I was watching Usain Bolt run a while ago and a pure chest when he win that 200 meter. Corey.
How you mean, man? All right, look, the thing is this, with us Jamaicans, we own Jamaica more than how anybody own Jamaica. You understand me? So it's all good that we have our opinions on what Jamaica should be and who should remain in Jamaica and who should migrate. Okay, fine. The point of the whole conversation is brain drain. Is it really true, and who it impacts? Good. Jamaica is now positioned as the greatest outsourcing region to be, and it is making strides to be that way. All right, the BPO sector is growing in Jamaica. Right, more in the past. COVID is living testimony to that. Okay, cool. Now, when you look at tourism, because we're going to deal with it sector by sector, when you look at tourism, we are in the service corridor. That's what it is. Jamaica serves the world as it relates to tourism, and the recovery of Jamaica's economy now, as Minister Bartlett mentioned, is driven by tourism. Okay, let us look at agriculture. That is, we're not exporting as though we used to export in the past. Cool. No. What is the export product from Jamaica? It is intellectual export. People are now looking at Jamaica as this prime area. Number one, we have a solid educational grounding, foundation, base. We're English-speaking country. English is our first country. Any territory that is dominantly English-speaking will require Jamaicans to be there. All right, there's another element to it. The cultural element, especially, let us look at social work. Let us look at healthcare. Now we have the diaspora, because this is my forte now. Now, when we have individuals who have migrated, them have children, now you're looking at second and third generation, and they require intervention, social intervention. Who best to deal with these Caribbean people of Caribbean heritage than somebody who understands the culture? So when they want a social worker to work on a case that involves a Jamaican,
you're gonna go for a Jamaican.
They're gonna go for a Jamaican, somebody who understands. And the caseload for look, man, you know where I'm going with this. I'm gonna really want to waste time, but I'm saying that we need to just
look at the bigger picture. What are you saying, Corey? Look at the bigger picture.
Look at the bigger picture. Look at the bigger picture. The thing is this, we cannot complain that Jamaica, we not have no work, because friend and company pack up in the higher region and the top shelf of the job market, not freed up. Okay, so when you get the opportunity to travel overseas, it's like somebody step up in that space that has been vacant. You know, that's
right. Corey, stick a pin. I want to get Kiddies now, but I want to get Kiddies. Kiddies.
Lime now, Chris. You get lime.
To show you,
You get lime?
to show you how much I want to be, this I have moved now to my business. No, and yourself. It's supposed to be heard loud and clear now. All right.
Well,
so
keep talking. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So my take on that we're experiencing brain drain. Nothing, as I hear Corey alluding to, in our best interest in the long term. Seeing my grandfather going off the farm for months to take care of the family, sending was away to take care of the family. 1980s, right? So it's nothing new. However, I think we're at a point where
can I stop 1 second? Can I stop 1 second, kiddies? Are we getting kiddies? Because we're getting a cutting out.
There's a delay, but you can hear her.
Yeah, man, I can hear kiddies.
What I'll say
There's
is,
a delay. We're hearing.
Slow down just a bit. Slow down just a bit with the words at the same time. Like count the words slightly.
There's a delay when you speak.
Yeah. That's all right.
Okay.
Keep going. We get it. Yeah.
Right. So what we're seeing is that because people know to information, access to opportunities. Somebody like me who grew up saying I would never ever leave the world, and then I'm successful and achieved so far. I am very grateful. I have a house, I can travel the world whenever I feel like. However, you feel like you self-actualize. If it's in your career where you are, you want better opportunity.
Kiddies, 1 second. Kiddies, someone just said turn off your video and speak because we see if that maybe can help.
Oh, she can call in Silver.
Oh, hold on. Kiddies, keep talking.
Hearing me now? Are you hearing me now? Is that better?
Yes, actually, yeah.
Clearer now?
Curious, smart.
Okay.
You have sense enough, Corey. Corey have sense of outside. Sorry.
It's the bandwidth to 7 videos is actually more. Right. So I grew up all this forever my.
Okay, I'm gonna make a decision. Kiddies. Kiddies, I'm gonna make a decision. I have a better option. I'm gonna send you a number and you call in to a WhatsApp number and you
because it's very important her point.
Yeah, I don't want to do
straight. I can call
No.
WhatsApp number.
No. I'm gonna send you I have a number where you can call in and it's much louder through my system. Yeah, I'm gonna send you a number. Okay, I'm gonna WhatsApp you the number. So you can. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll WhatsApp you a number, kiddies. Okay. Who else want to speak while I sort this out, guys? Go to come.
I had wanted to talk about when Lester was talking about the solution, right? And I had started by saying that Jamaicans migrating and leaving, and I keep saying it, is the norm. It's been happening, right? Some of the solutions is the pipeline from high school into universities, the pipeline into teachers' colleges, the pipeline into social work, into medicine. That's what we need to ensure that it happens, right? That's what we need to ensure, that when we speak to our young people, self-actualization and achieving anything, How do we get them from high school into, so that those persons who have the 3 to 5 years experience who are leaving, the space is open for them to fill. That's a solution that we need to have happen. What has happened in some instance is mentorship. Mentoring our young people to say to them, okay, fine, very early, what is what is it that you want to achieve? And then linking them to individuals here in Jamaica who has achieved that, and then having them carry them out along that path. I read historically that initially Michael, when it started, was a teacher's college. There was only males. Mm-hmm. And they did a campaign to get females into Michael. So let's start talking about getting that campaign to get our students from high school into these institutions and saying, what is it that you need to complete? And some of the ways in which I've seen this happen, there are Jamaicans in the diaspora who have provided scholarships, because I've had to navigate those scholarships for some of my students. But we need more of those who have offered scholarship to persons who are at tertiary level, and I've said, okay, fine, this is what the requirement for this scholarship. I have this scholarship in the name of my father, who has contributed in teaching, in education, and to honor his name, this is what I'm doing. I'm offering a scholarship for a student who is. And one of the problems is that we have a lot of students who are going in first year and can't pay the first year. Student loan sometimes is very challenging. But once you get into any of the tertiary level institutions, the second year, there are a lot of business companies in Jamaica who offer you for the second year, but not a lot of them are offering it for the first year. And students are just going. And I've seen students drop out because of that. They're not able. And not only scholarships is needed, we need grants to say, because some of them, their parents are coming from some low income situation where they're not even able to provide them with certain basic things. And I've negotiated those stuff for them. Uniforms, lunch money. So that's how the diaspora can help. Provide scholarships and grants so that the pipeline can continue from high school straight into.
But sister,
okay,
I like the stuff you're doing, but I've got one question. I'm gonna compare Jamaica to the first world countries, and all the things
I got Kitty's online. Sorry,
all the things that you're saying. If you compare that with the UK, those processes are automatic by virtue of the government. Now, I want to know, if I want to ask a question, as corruption that is absorbing a lot of what should go where, has it stopped? I don't know. I don't want to make any general assumptions. I want to ask if any bird, rat, fowl, or cockroach is eating out any of the taxes in Jamaica, so that there cannot be an automatic transfer like how these people in the UK and America and Canada get people into
that is unfair, Vanessa. You're talking about the United Kingdom. Older democracy than Jamaica.
One second.
For example,
their comparison that makes no logic.
Okay.
No. I'm asking a question.
Hold on, let's stop.
Okay, talking sip Saturday night. Guys, what are you all drinking? Drinking. And what are you drinking?
I'm drinking Crystal Punch.
Super.
Crystal Punch I'm drinking here.
I'll make this.
I've already finished one bottle. I'm drinking
second. Can be hot.
So here's the thing.
I'm drinking Crystal Punch here.
Out of it. Let's take the emotion out of it. Everyone has.
I can't.
Right?
Vanessa, please. You have to hang on for a second.
So if you're gonna have a debate, there's a lot of opinions, right? Just respect other people's opinion. Let's not disrupt the flow, because the other folks who are trying to listen, if we want to turn them off, they're gonna shut off and then go somewhere else. So let's be respectful. Take the emotion out of it, because here's the bottom line. you're not going to fix brain drain. You're not. You cannot fix brain drain. People are going to leave for various reasons. The gentleman talk about BPO. I'm one of the person who I don't like the BPO industry. It's 5 years from now.
Neither do I.
It's not going to be existent. It's going to be gone, right? So I think that the question becomes, how do you create an ecosystem that get the pipeline going, get job opportunity for people, get net flow of foreign investment going into Jamaica, right? One of the biggest issues in Jamaica is energy. The cost of manufacturing in Jamaica is really, really high. How do you get that down? If you get that down, you'll attract car companies, right? Elon Musk is trying to build cars. Why can't we get Ford or whomever to build factories in Jamaica? We are 3 hours or maybe less than a day.
I want to say, Lester, let Onion finish. I want to say hi to Sharika because she just came on.
So we're going to have one of the deepest water port. So we could become the logistic hub, right? So how do we get those investment? Because we are not going to stop brain drain. So even if I give a scholarship to someone in Jamaica, I hire people. I will go and say, look, I'll give you $100,000 a year. Come work for me, right? That person is going to leave or they're going to stay, right? Yeah. The actually science department in UA, I could tell you, we probably hire half of them before they even finish school. We're giving them $200,000 a year to work. Yeah. You think they're going to turn that down? They're going to leave. So we cannot solve the brain drain issue. What we have to figure out is
solve it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Right. My point is that it's how do you create opportunities? Because it's always going to be a cycle. We live in a globalized world.
Brains linking with brains. Sharika, hi. Say something, Sharika. I want to get on to kiddies.
Hi. Is that what your name is? I can't see the name.
Who is that, Sharika?
This that declare that you can brain drain. You are trying to, what happen is an incentivize people into their own.
Are you using Flow or Digicel? You're supposed to be in the UK. You're supposed to be in the UK.
She's using Starlink.
No, keep talking, Sharika. Sorry. Okay. Okay, one second. Kiddies?
I'm here.
Yeah, can you speak? Can you guys hear us?
Yeah.
Listen.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear kiddies?
Not really.
No, you speak.
Just
speak.
If a speaker, Silburn, if you have a speaker.
No, you got to speak. Keep speaking. Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we are. That's a whole lot better.
Okay, perfect. All right, so the point I've been long trying to make is this. As a young person who grew up saying, I would never migrate, I don't want to leave Jamaica, I don't want to live anywhere else, having got to a certain level, I think in life now, I feel as if I've maxed my potential here, and for me to do better, I'm going to have to leave and come back. And that's just where it's at. And why am I saying this? I have a business, as I said before. I have a job that I'm currently being paid as one of the better paid persons in the public sector. And when I look at, okay, when that contract that I'm on ends, what happens from here? I'm always want to be leveling up. And if I don't see where I can level up here, where I'm at right now, I'm going to want to go away to travel the world to get more experience, to achieve more. And if you have people who are, as we've been discussing, who are skilled, who are intelligent, who have the intellect, you are going to have this happening ever so often. It's going to be a cycle that will continue to happen. It's not a government forcing us to leave the country, but because of our own need for personal development and self-realization. I can't sit here and say to myself, okay, I have this business, I'm going to business, I'm doing well, and I'm fine. You know, they say more money, more problems. Yeah. So no matter how much you have, you're always going to want more. And I grew up seeing my family migrate, you know, and having a better life, why don't I think that I can get that same thing too? Matthew, it has been very, it has been, and I'm saying has been because I'm still struggling with the decision to make up my mind to leave Jamaica. Because at the end of the day, I want to be the one to help to contribute to make it a better place. Yeah, so even if and when I do leave, I'm going to come back and I'm going to remit and I'm going to make sure that whatever I do, at the end of it, my country is developed because I make that impact. So I'm not one of them who is going to leave and turn my back on Jamaica and forget about it. Yeah, so to me, I don't think I'll contribute to brain drain. It's more of, you know, how can I make a bigger impact? Not for my and my family only.
Can I ask your sister a question? I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you,
Sure.
people like you, I like you. I like your mentality because people like you tend to want to stay where you are. And if a lot of Jamaicans were stubborn about staying where they are, and they would hold the government accountable so that the country can be better. Because I don't want to skirt about the issue of the taxes that is meant to be paying the police, paying the teachers, and if the taxes are doing what they're supposed to do. Yes, I take everybody's point about the BPO, where if you're going to the toilet, you have to tell them that you're going to the toilet, and you have to clock out, and it's a very slavish thing. But if you can't do better, you have to just join the modern slavery queue. And you know, there are different levels in the BPO. So some people are comfortable, some people, but I like your mentality because a lot of Jamaicans, if they were willing to stand and fight, then the government would not be getting away with so many of the things that they are getting away with. I am saying that I know that we need to do more as a people because we can't put everything on the government because there's a private sector. But I'm also asking whether them stop thief out the taxes. Whether things things like what happened with Royal Reed.
Listen, you don't have to respond.
What does that to do with that?
But Vanessa,
I'm saying that people like her is likely to hold the government accountable than others who prefer who are easier to run away.
No, listen, you got to let
you don't want to run away from your country and your problem and go to other people's countries that those people build and stick with it and they hold their governments accountable.
Vanessa.
I have to stop muting persons.
Vanessa. Vanessa.
All right, let's go through.
Vanessa, I understand your passion, right? And every Jamaican should have a concern about their taxes, right? But we have to be careful how we defame persons. Mr. Royal Reed has not been convicted of anything.
Listen, did she mention Royal Reed?
Yes, she did.
He has a case to answer, though.
Could I finish? I allowed you to speak. Mr. Royal Reed.
I do not want guys. I'm gonna shut this thing down. I don't want to go. No, let's careful. Just because she said it, we don't have to prolong it.
Yeah, I would go there.
It's gonna take us down a precipice there. So I don't want that. That's not on my show. I'm sorry, guys.
Silver, can I chime in? Can I chime in on?
I don't want to go down that route with these guys and these sort of.
As it relates to flow, as it relates to flow, and I'm gonna speak directly to Vanessa now. All right, Vanessa, our paths have crossed many times, you know, on Diaspora affairs, and let's look at the flow, and we'll go back to what O'Neill and Lester have spoken about pipeline. Okay, now Jackie, she touched on a very important topic about making sure that the training is in place, that they go through the pipeline from primary, secondary, tertiary, and everything is all right. Let us address your issue now of where the pipeline can be affected, can be muddied, and all of these kind of things. Now think about water. When you turn on your pipe, Vanessa, you expect to get the best quality water coming out of that pipe if you're going to drink it. All right? No, that's what it's potable and all of that. Cool. You're going to drink it. Now, if you have flush your toilet, Vanessa, do you expect that this water should be of the greatest quality if you're going to use it for flush your toilet? No. you're all right with a particular grade. It's just you understand that this is for this particular purpose. You understand me? So when there's a need, when people look into Jamaica and said, okay, fine, we need this labor force for this particular sector. Does it mean that the person who goes on a farm work job opportunity, not had no brain? We're just throwing that out.
Yeah.
Versus the doctor who was trained for how many years, and now the neurosurgeon, the one in the island, now the big hospital in Canada, UK or US called for that neurosurgeon.
Yeah.
And that neurosurgeon, she leave or him leave Jamaica. Is that where you're gonna pinpoint the brain drain versus the new neurosurgeons coming through the pipeline, studied for many years at the university, right, in Jamaica, right? But I may just be on some placement and whatever. But
Sorry,
there's
you're onto something.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna have to release Vanessa.
He
Thank
asked
you.
me.
Vanessa, I want to stop you there because Kiddis made a point, and we did not go back to Kiddis' point because you're saying you're asking Kiddis a question, and the question didn't reach your Kiddis. Kiddis mentioned something very powerful and very profound because when Kiddis came on the show, I was using Kiddis as an example of an entrepreneur who is successful in Jamaica, and I wasn't thinking Kiddis was going to say what she was going to say, but Kiddis has flagged up something. Lester, based on what Kiddis is actually saying, what's your take on what Kiddis is saying, whereby she sees whereby her next level up is to go away and to come back?
That the same thing happened to me. I felt that I reached a peak in Jamaica, managing artists, having business, doing all these things is like my book. And a lot of persons who I've spoken to, even I have a friend that is earning about 700,000 a month, and him link me say he want come to the Netherlands. I mean, I say, brother, you're one of the higher scale of earning, and him say him just want to do better, and he's doing really well based on his income. But persons always want to expand their horizons, want to explore new opportunities, right? One of the solution to the replacement of the talent that is leaving is implement heart programs into the high schools earlier, right? So from them go a grade 7, start have the introduction of vocation or STEM but Heart Academy have to not be just when they leave school, but they must start infuse it now in the high school. So by the time you reach 5th form or 6th form, right? You are well versed or well trained in at least 2 vocations or 2 academic area. We are not training enough persons. That's one of the things. And enough persons are not turning out for the training.
I agree with you, Lester.
And last point, and I've said this, I'm feel like a stock record, Corey. 2019, my mother started a program, right, at the community center in Olaba Bay. She has since graduated twice with 2 vocations. The youth them on the corner, she begged them, come up at the place. She said the same amount of time when you sit down on the corner, when you could have sit down in the classroom and learn a skill, right? They must say, I work them one. Now, what happened is that no boy, no male, since that center is open, has entered the doors of that center. Not one male. And we have to find a way, O'Neill, Silburn, Jackie, Vanessa, and my wife, to attract young men, especially young men, into these areas.
So Lester, you make a point, but I think there's some larger social issues. So when I was in Jamaica, I happened to talk to some folks because I was interesting because I was at this place and the amount of BMWs that I saw and the folks 19, 20, driving these BMWs, I'm like, wow. And one of the things the guy said to me, he's like, you got to get into the lottery thing, the scamming. So a lot of these kids now, they're scamming, right? So there's social issues where, I could go through those training program, Lester, but I could go get whatever, so I could go drive a brand new BMW. I could go to a club, and I'm just raining $100 US dollars, right? So I think there's some social issues probably impacting the pipeline and impacting the fact that you have all these programs. All these kids are leaving high school and said, my brethren over here driving a BMW, I want to go drive that too. So we have to think about some of those social issues that are impacting the conversation.
And on that note, O'Neill, I tend to agree right across the top line. In the conversation last year, September, with Raymond Treasure, Silburn,
Yes.
he alluded to what he was mentioning about have to cut some programs. I said to Raymond, look, I think you have the sixth form here. I think all the students, they should be introduced to the associate degree program. They should not leave with just the A levels and things. It should be so you're leaving high school with an associate degree.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's right there.
Love it.
That's
Really
it.
love
So that's a
Right
clear.
now, what's the percentage of illiterates? Have we got people graduating from schools that are? When I was in Jamaica very recently, I was very recently in Jamaica. I've met people who have graduated from school, not being able to read and write, and the attitude of the teachers that we have. What's going on in the school? Because if you leave school and you can't read and write, then where are you gonna go except to get into fraud? And then somebody was onto a program where they were talking about the farm work and the Corey, the diversification. And if we lose them, do we truly lose the brain? Farming, for example, the reason why our economy is not producing is that when you look at urbanization, for one, people who are in the rural area, they started migrating to Kingston. When they migrate to Kingston, you behave like your environment. The trade of farming is not
Okay,
passed
Vanessa.
on to your
So
children.
where would you put agriculture in the whole? No, hold on a second.
The trade of farming is not passed down to the children, and then the little farmers that we've got have gone away. But because we don't see farming as anything, because we eat from the supermarket shelf, we don't think we're eating from the farm.
That's fine.
We don't realize that farmers are some of our brightest people. Farmers in the UK, for example, in Canada, are wealthy people.
Yes.
So are we downgrading things like mechanics, farming, carpentry, music?
Where in STEM would you put agriculture then, Vanessa? Where in STEM would you put agriculture? Because
I would put agriculture at the top of everything.
No. Where in STEM? Right?
What is STEM?
You just got it. It's science, technology, education, and engineer and math.
Yeah.
Well,
where would you put agriculture?
We call it STEAM.
Yeah. Come on, Vanessa. Come in.
I am saying that farming is one of the
because you have the brightest mind.
things.
You have to put them in a STEM or STEAM. Come on now, Vanessa, man.
Yes, I am putting it. I'm not into your acronyms.
No, man. I'm not into technology. Because I'm not into the
politics of it. I am just saying that. But to me, farming is one of the most important things that we're sending away. We are sending away our farmers, and we have lost the techniques in farming. And then the land is lying there barren, and we are there saying we are hungry, and then that is causing crime. So for me, you can't be sending away all your farmers, all your nurses, all your teachers, and you're saying, well, it's okay for you to go. Well, we might as well close down Jamaica, leave it empty, and we all leave it. Because
that is a great idea, darling. Great idea. But just let me welcome my friend. Who I haven't seen and talked. Welcome.
Yes.
Thank you, Reverend, for coming in. Very timely, so we will all be behaving ourselves.
Get the new one.
I've been in the background. I've been in the background shaking my head. I've been in the background shaking my head.
We've been well behaved.
it's great to be.
I'm having Holy Ghost
I'm
wine.
having a crystal punch. I'm having a crystal punch.
No rum
You know,
inside there, no drunkenness or anything like that.
You know me if I represent for the color.
You're entitled. You're entitled. You're entitled. Always say it, Leicester. You're
Let's not
entitled.
abuse himself, man.
But Vanessa.
Let Gary say something. Let Gary bless us first. We're at this point.
Is he gonna talk about the Jeep?
Well, I mean,
The Jeep.
What's your take, Gary? What's your take on because you came to the UK in your khaki pants, innit? When you migrated.
There's Scotland.
Was it a short one or a long one?
I left Jamaica in the 80s with banana leaf for 2 years.
Gary,
But,
are you using flow or digital? Buddy,
I need a glass of wine.
even flow and digital. Let them export flow and digital to UK all of a sudden tonight.
Yeah, because what's happening? What's happening with all of this?
Too much bandwidth on night.
But I think that no, it's just sad. Whatever is going on, and however it's being done, it's not doing Jamaica any good. Jamaica is not coming off any better, really. And it's something I don't know which was that made the point I would see anyway. That for people notice that they've got something to offer, they've got to leave Jamaica to come back into Jamaica to be noticed that they can offer Jamaica something. That always seems to be the situation, as far as I can see, anyway.
Okay, well, listen. On a last note, guys, let's look at what are some of the key points that Leicester need to bring back to the government and kiddies.
Right. One. I want the maritime institution that's doing the logistics and the shipping. I want places like those strengthened. I want money pumped back into them, because I think, for example, institutions like the maritime is a good institution that is a very technically oriented. I want that. And the farming, we need to teach farming as a skill in schools. It needs to be taught on the curriculum. And we need a refocus, because somebody mentioned something to do with doctors and nurses and lawyers. In the Jamaican mindset, I mean, everybody wants to be a doctor, a nurse, and a lawyer, but is that those are not economy germinating professions. So we need to think skills. You know, we need to have skills at the top. So
cannabis industry. We need to expand on our cannabis industry.
Cannabis, yeah, the weed.
Straight up, level up.
I nominate the maritime.
And I'll do the cannabis.
You do the cannabis, Peter?
I'll do the cannabis.
All right.
I want to be
minister. I will fix the maritime.
What does the
maritime do? By the way, what does the maritime do again?
I want to be minister with a portfolio of cannabis.
Well, the interesting bit is that you know, I think that we want to make sure that the Prime Minister, the powers that be, really take into consideration. There's a video I wanted to play, but I don't want to play it maybe till the end, just in case if it's a copyright issue. I'll play it at the direct end. A 5-minute video about brain drain and the positive aspects of brain drain as well. And they're talking about brains coming together. There's a positive aspect of it, which, as Kuria alluded to, because the thing about brain drain is that the same countries which are supposed to be where people are migrating to, those same countries are also losing out on nurses, teachers, and also social workers. And they're spreading all over the world, because there's a study that shows that the most people that come to the UK, like the Chinese, they hardly go back. The professional ones that go back to China and Taiwan. And something what they're doing now in Taiwan, I believe, is, and only we can back on this one, is they're creating lots of what do they call those networks in the States, for like Facebook, these hubs, what they call it?
Digital hubs.
Yeah, Taiwan is doing those things to try to get their people back. You know what I'm saying? So one and so I think, but
Silver,
yeah.
You know what we're not looking at? Saudi Arabia has started a new it's a new Gulf League, I think. O'Neill, what they're offering the pro golf players in the US, right? The PGA Tour can't pay them that. So it is not just in business, it is in all sectors. So they're offering Jack Mickelson in name, I think, like $240 million, right? And the PGA said that boy, they're gonna find him and stuff like that. So it's happening in every country, it's happening in all sectors. What we have to do is we have to refocus. We have to rethink now how we're going to involve the things that we have going for us, right? So it can be like in terms of volume, economy of scale, in terms of land, Jamaica don't have it. People keep saying we have wasteland. Jamaica don't have so much land. So we have to think about how are we going to do farming then, right? So we have to think different. We have to go in a high-rise farming then, right? And I have sent these things to.
What about Moko land? I went up there and there was nothing going on in them lands.
One second. So listen, I like when they interrupt him.
What I'm saying, Vanessa, yes, there are lands there, but what I'm saying, Vanessa, we cannot compete in terms of numbers because Jamaica is very small. What we have to do is find creative ways and talk about quality. So if we're going to produce, like say, watermelons or grapefruit, then right, we have to concentrate on the quality. So if we're selling grapefruits to Coca-Cola to make ting, right, Coca-Cola know that they're going to buy all of the grapefruit them from Jamaica because the quality of grapefruit. So that is where our focus has to be now, and that's how, Corey, we can introduce the A in a STEM.
The A in a STEM. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I was thinking, governments going to other government countries and buy land and do things. Governments have so much money. Like some countries don't have land, but them have so much money because no rat and bird not taking out the money. They have enough money to go in other people's countries and buy land, like the Chinese. They buy land and they do stuff in other people's countries and bring it back to their own. So, I mean, if we've got money, if we're wise about how we're investing, and we can do stuff with the money. So, I take your point with the land. So, if we don't have enough land, we should ensure that every little piece, because there are some Caribbean islands, the little middle part that you drive on in the road, where you have the little side, you have a car here, you have a car in the middle there, there's land. Even there, so them plant up with fruits, So we can't afford to have any empty things that are not being used if we say we don't have enough. But what I'm seeing from going around Jamaica Island, a lot of land thrown down there and nothing's on the land.
All right. So just to chime in as to what going forward would look like. Going forward for me is strengthening the outsourcing. I could probably call it framework. So that Lester mentioned that his Virgin makes 700,000+ per month. Which is I suppose is a skill in demand. Have many people in Jamaica, they're leaving because they're seeking the opportunity overseas. Maybe they have ambition of building a house, that sort of thing, or securing or wealth security for the next generation. So being in Jamaica, they may not see that grand opportunity, but their heart's still in Jamaica. If the outsourcing sector is strengthened and Jamaicans can remain in Jamaica and earn just like they earn elsewhere, trust me, the sand, sea, and the rum and all things agricultural will benefit them on that piece of rock. Understand me? So it's really just the outsourcing focus and develop that framework around it to sustain that level of skill in Jamaica.
So I think here's where I think the diaspora could help. I'm of the opinion that it's not about land. It's about access to market. So if you have farmers who plant whatever hectare, if they don't have access to market, whatever it is. So what the diaspora could do is figure out how to get the governors, in the US or the state senators, and similar in Canada and the UK, and said, how do you create trades, right? One of the things I see the African diaspora do a really good job of is engaging the governors, engage in such a way to sort of trade agriculture. So you could say a governor could sign and say, I want banana from Jamaica, right? So I think the piece of it where the diaspora can help is access the market, right? Because we all know under the new replacement for CARICOM, the agricultural produce to the US is much more expensive than coming from Mexico or any one of those countries.
True.
So I think the diaspora could help in terms of getting access to market, not only for agriculture, but other products that is coming out of Jamaica.
So, Anil, you are saying that lobbying for the governors, like, well, me and you were in the DMV area, lobbying for the governors in these areas to say, okay, for the agricultural purpose of it, for, let's general speaking, coconut, we want to get it from Jamaica.
Yeah, organic. Yeah, so exactly. So organic is a big.
But it goes back to the quality. What Lester was saying is that are we producing that quality?
Jamaica has. I don't think it's quality. Jamaicans. We have to realize. Jamaica has good land, and where I'm from in Mandeville, people could plant stuff, right? What they don't have is access to market, right? The quality is there, right? They sell a lot of it to the tourist industry, right? A lot of those farmers are producing. The problem is that it's cheaper to import a lot of agricultural product into Jamaica than buying it. So I don't believe it's a quality. It's now helping them package it and helping them access to the market. But I don't think, my opinion, I don't think it's an issue of quality.
O'Neill, I understand what you're saying, but there's two things. First thing, it is good suggestion. And I said to Vita some time ago that we have these ambassadors all over the world. What are these ambassadors lobbying on behalf of Jamaica for in terms of trade and stuff like that? I'm saying, what is the benefit to Jamaica having these ambassadors there if we are not utilizing them and utilizing the opportunities in these countries to help Jamaica grow? That's one. Now, if we get these governors in the States and in the UK and Canada and Australia and wherever the Jamaican diaspora is, to say, hey, let's look at the market in Jamaica. O'Neill, the problem come back to Jamaica, At Jamaica, where the difficulty gonna be, right? Because the amount of red tape in Jamaica with certain things. And the thing that people have got jump first world countries are people who are serious about business are not going to sit by and say, boy, I can work this through for 9 months. As you said, your friend is there for 6 months trying to get a business up and running, and it's a task she have to left and retool. Many persons have faced that. I have faced that, right? We are facing it now with a project.
So let's start.
But what I know? Now the last thing, quality is of an issue. I brought up Coca-Cola for a specific reason. They wanted to buy grapefruit from Jamaica, but say you get grapefruit from Westmoreland, the soil quality in a Westmoreland and the soil quality in a St. Thomas. So the rhyme in the grapefruit, one maybe 14 and one a 7, right? Coca-Cola now go buy it. They want to be 12 or 14, right? That was the problem. But we are the best grapefruit. But guess what? Them got Thailand or them got Mexico where them can get a consistency in terms of the rhyme. So quality is a problem. That's why I'm saying we have to rethink and put the A in our STEM in the agriculture, right? And do controlled farming. You understand? We have a consistency in quality.
But you could, because
I understand what you're saying, Lester. That's a very good point. But you mentioned the red tape, and I'm gonna get stuck at the red tapes because red tapes have to do with processes that are drafted into laws by governments. And that's something that to me, as a person who is into legislation, and how I've been trained is that red tapes, too much of it encourages corruption because people thrive on it, because when you can't get around the red tape, you pay. So we need to look at our processes to find out if these are what purpose, what legal, what economical purpose does these red tapes serve. And these people that are, and I'm not talking about the government, I'm talking civil servants who are in charge of these things, and they become part of the legislative, the executive, they become part of the pool to reform these things. So for me, as I said, the government is where the ultimate buck stops. And the people would think, well, it's for our safety, but what we need to get rid of some of these red tapes, and the government.
All right. Processes, Vanessa. Great point, and we can build out from that point of processes, because if we're looking at the diaspora as an extension of the Jamaican community, the question I know ask is that if a Jamaican who is established in the Jamaican diaspora employs a Jamaican, all right, a skilled worker, sponsor them, they travel overseas, is that brain drain? Because you'll still be serving the Jamaican diaspora, but working in another country for a Jamaican company established in that jurisdiction. So we have to be very careful how we mention the diaspora and try to separate it from the island, the rock itself, right?
Corey, that's a good point. So, now finish that point, and I'll come back on the finish.
Right. So we are looking at Jamaica as just one fixed geographical point. Boom, is the rock, right? But we still discuss matters relating to Jamaica to include the diaspora. Come on.
Corey, you know, I'm looking at it now. Jacqueline is the only person. Corey, are you in the UK now or in Jamaica? Just want to qualify.
Yeah, man, I'm on the internet. Vita, don't laugh, Vita. Don't laugh.
All right.
Look at Claudine Williams. Sip.
Yeah.
Claudine Williams has a comment there.
I know, no. The point I want to mention right here is that what you said a while ago about contribution to Jamaica, about brain drain. O'Neill is in the States. Vita, Gail, and Lissa, they're somewhere in some place at the Netherlands. Vanessa is in the UK. Gary's in the UK. Jacqueline is in Jamaica. Corey is on the internet. We're all contributing right now to Jamaica. Wouldn't you all agree?
Yes.
We are contributing to Jamaica.
Silburn, if they will take us seriously, because there is this thing that the diaspora is only to send money, and they don't want, and we're not to have a say in anything. There is this notion that we just send money and we must shut up our mouth and just keep sending the money.
And then O'Neill
the
also
attitude of the people towards the people abroad is like, you know, you only not live here, so just send the money, come and make we do what we do. And you're not just nothing, you know.
And then O'Neill also brought up the point about how the Africans nations lobby the governors, and they are the ones who are on the front line doing the work. O'Neill, follow up on that point again.
Yeah, I think, you know, this is where another show, I'm not a big fan of that.
Agreed.
Right. But what I see the African diaspora, and if you look at the amount of governors that have gone to Africa to look at, you know, economic bilateral interests, there are many. I've not seen many that have gone to Jamaica. And what they've done, they lobby these governors. They meet with them. They talk about the issues, similar issues that we're talking about. And a lot of these governors, especially now, are willing to help, right? They're willing to travel to Africa with their contingent, right, to talk about issues and how we help bilateral trade agreements. So I think those are things that the diaspora could do, because we talk about agriculture. You know, I have an uncle who used to pepper, and he was making over $1 million US a year off of pepper in Jamaica, right? But he had access to market, right? You have to have access to market to be able to grow. So those are the things I think, Silverone, we could do. I think sometimes we talk too much about the political things that we could do as part of the diaspora in Jamaica. There are tangible things that we could do, such as lobbying the place where we are to say, look, make Jamaica the destination for tourism. Start doing technological exchange, right? Start buying our bananas. Start doing all of these things. to me, that's a better use of our time than trying to talk about other things in Jamaica. And that's where I think, in O'Neill's opinion, we should spend our time.
But then, you
But
know,
Neil, I have a question for O'Neill. I have a question for Neil.
but our government is busy vying for what you call the positions in all over the place, and the people are not sitting
Jesus,
down home.
Vanessa. Why you have to always go back negative?
It's not negative, but he's saying that we must bring things home when the government self is busy. Their mind is not even in the country. When you look at Camilla Johnson,
we're 2 minutes away from closing time. I want Jacqueline Bryan to give her final word and a recommendation to the government. Lester is here as a representative to tell it, and Kiddis is here as well. And I'll send the clip to Andrew Holness directly as well, if Lester don't do it.
I'm just 1 minute, please.
Yes. And while we have commercial break there, let me see if I can go for anyone else. Let's see what persons are saying. Actually, I forget I should always do that. Another solution: Jamaica should stop selling to foreigners as much and give the Jamaican opportunities to invest in the country. Another person said, Claudia, for example, how many hotels in Jamaica are owned by Jamaicans? These are all issues which we have to look at another time. Jacqueline, please.
All right. Going back to starting from high school.
We're gonna have to. Is that about 2 hours?
The pipeline.
I was winding up.
Getting our young people into that pipe of, I think Lester it was that spoke about having heart from a very early. We have started some of that, so we need to continue it in terms of getting the skill area out there, and if we first need to do the assessment of what it is that our young men are interested in. Why is it that they're entering into the chapter line business, and get that pipeline going so that they don't have to go into the chapter line business, right? What it is that we, our young people, because I work with our young people, what are the doors that are closed that needs to be opened for them so that they can get where they want to go? And it's right, Onid, you're right. Brain drain, or if you wanted to use another term, is going to forever be with us. So continue the pipeline so that when they leave, the replacement.
Yes.
So if it is the teachers are leaving, the nurses are leaving, the doctors are leaving, ensure that we continue, because that's what we have. I got a call just this week, somebody asking me for, they want, and they're doing it now, where persons are doing early childhood and taking care of, you have to get a certificate in early childhood in order to. They call me from the US wanting somebody, they're going to have a child, and they want somebody from Jamaica to come and work for a certain period of time. It's going to always be there. Train them. So we stop worrying about people leaving. Continue training. Continue the training so that persons are there to replace those who are leaving, but are going to leave. Somebody are saying that, and a comment that persons are leaving, they only come back when they retire. That's not true. I have young people who have come back, who have returned after going to Japan and worked there for 3-year and 6-year contract, who are now back in Jamaica and who are working in Jamaica and adjusting themselves. Because I've said to myself, if the opportunity comes, go and come back, and they have done so.
Thank you very much for that, Jacqueline. And
but give them.
Corey,
I have a question for Oni before you take Corey.
Yeah, and Corey, last word.
Yes, Silburn. I don't believe in this this brain drain in entirety because it goes back to employment and employability. All right. And if the opportunities are presented to the individual to upskill themselves and fill the positions that are vacant, and it goes back to Jacqueline's point, we have to have systems and the proper pipeline to replenish. And if they go overseas and Jamaica is looking towards the diaspora for support, I believe they can serve their country from wherever they are. So that is my 2 cents.
Fantastic. And Vanessa, in 1 minute with an A.
I'm just saying that for me, I'm gonna end it by saying I don't have faith in any of the two parties in Jamaica. And I feel that they're not being held. The people are not putting enough pressure on them for them to step up and do what they should do. You know, and until we start as a people holding our government accountable, then we will always be out of the nest somewhere else, being very uncomfortable, because a lot of people living abroad, they are treated by virtue of their color and they're not treated as equals, and they're not happy. They don't want to be there. So we need to hold our government accountable more.
Fair enough. And Vita?
Well, I have a question for O'Neill. I'm going to put you on the spot. You speak about the diasporas in Africa and what they're doing. Now, me and you, we're in the DMV in the US. We both live in the US, and Audrey Meeks is someone that we have access to. So I would like to put you on the spot and say, when can we start this program of meeting with our leaders there and have them start lobbying for Jamaica? So I would love to see what is it that we can start or push or help the diasporas to say in the DMV area, how can we meet with Audrey Meeks and say, okay, we would like to start a program?
Let's do it. We can start whenever. Just let me know. But the one thing I would add, Silvern, is Jamaica has made a lot of progress, right?
Yeah.
If you go back 20 years, you go back in communities, Jamaica, are there issues? Yes. But Jamaica has made a tremendous amount of progress.
Yes.
The infrastructure, right? 10 years ago, 20 years ago, going from Mandeville to wherever, going from Kingston to Montego Bay, right? There's a lot of progress. There's a lot of things that are going on in Jamaica that is positive. It's like any other society. We have our challenges, but Jamaica has made a lot of progress. So let's take that. Yes, there's brain drain and whatnot, and we're not going to fix it, but let's highlight the positive stuff. Jamaica has a lot of things going for them, and we should celebrate that.
We should celebrate, and I agree with you. And I would love, and I will reach out to you, and let's start this program and see what we can do. I'll reach out with other Jamaicans that live in the DMV area who are passionate and love Jamaica, and see what the difference can we make. Let's make a difference.
Let's do it. My fee is $2,000 an hour.
Oh, Silvern pay, no worries.
and Lester.
Silvern.
Without addressing Vanessa.
And you know what? I'm the person that love Lester the most on this forum. Nobody will put Lester off. I won't have it.
Another Kremlin with it.
Or
maybe it's the Kremlin with an A, right? Listen, the way forward. I just like Silburn and I and O'Neill will love look on the way forward and Corey, right?
Yeah.
We have to focus on areas that we're not focusing on. You see, community, parenting, household. These are issues, and these are. And I always say that Jamaica have a social issue and not a crime issue, right? The social issue has broken down. So this is what is causing the influx of young men, especially going into scamming, right? Because the whole social structure is breaking down. The whole social structure towards persons looking up to persons who have worked hard, studied hard, and gainful employment. Nobody in Jamaica really look upon them people as a role model or something to achieve, right? So we can't want to fix one aspect and the other aspect not fix. Both aspects have to work on, right? And we can always say, let's hold our government accountable. But if we are fall down for our responsibility in our own community, our own household, our own families, we cannot ask the government to do anything at all. Because if the government can't fix for them part and we now do our part, right? So it's a holistic change that we need to make in a Jamaica, and each person have to start with themselves and their family, right? We have seen so many social ills will spill over into the professional ills, or spill over into political arena, right? So the thing is that we have to take personal accountability very serious. We don't take that very serious, right? We also have to say, look here, what is it that we as a nation want? What is the Jamaican dream? What is it that we're aspiring to as a nation, right? There are so many things that we can do easily, O'Neill said, very easily, but we are not moving towards these things. So we have to start in that fashion first.
And thanks for that. And there's something I always say before I go to Gary, is that the potency of the diaspora is when there's an effective partnership with Jamaica and in Jamaica. And Kitty's also flagged up the Diaspora Conference, which happens, the Biennial Diaspora Conference, which has happened every other year or so, which I've been involved with for many years, but sort of pulled back of it because it has sort of lost its savor to a certain point. That's another discussion. But at the same time, it is there as a tool, as a vehicle that can be used, and O'Neill and Vita, as you rightly said, like Vita always said, let's get things going. We can start the process. Gary, your last word, sir. Your blessings for tomorrow.
Well, I mean, since the last time that I was on till now, there has been a steady deterioration of behaviors on this platform. And I don't know what you guys, I don't know what you guys have been drinking since I haven't been on it.
Vita, come back here.
I just want to say to all of you, especially Vita and Vanessa, that
yes, Vanessa, good.
It's supposed to be talk and sip, right? The strong I'm drinking at this moment, the strongest thing I'm drinking at this moment is the Holy Spirit. But the last word I would like to leave with you all is, now may the saving grace of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the love of God, the full fellowship of the Holy Spirit, rest remain and abide with you all. Amen.
Amen.
Well, on that note,
wow, it was good.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for.
You too.
Thank you, O'Neill. See you later, guys.
Corey,
yeah, man, bless up. Yeah, man, bless up. Yeah, man.
Corey.
Listen.
You're not going to give me that hideout spot up on the internet, you know.
Boy, that's the best one.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I need some advice from Corey here on that one.
What was the exact response again? Where are you, Corey, again?
The internet.
Man, too fast.
That was a good one.
Too fast and inquisitive, innit? One know Monday.
You know, like when I connect, but
and the first thing one should recognize is that not even image was there. It's just a picture.
but Silver, what I want to know, from Corey, can married men use that excuse too?
Look, Lester, man, you mash up a thing now, man. You mash up a thing now, Lester. Where are you? On the internet. Come on, mash up a thing, man.
I thought Gary, I thought the Rev made a blessing a while ago.
Yes. Yes. Rev.
Like he needs sackcloth and ashes now.
Pastor Corey need prayer.
But you know what?
Listen, all of you need prayer. All of you need prayer.
We always do, Rev. We always do. We always need prayer. Can't leave it out at all.
See, then
Rev,
we go
Rev,
start.
blame it on the alcohol, Rev.
No, for some people.
Blame it on the
For
spirit.
some people.
Man, you need a good dose of Holy Spirit, man. You need a good dose of it.
So guys, well, listen, it was a great discussion, and as usual, I never like to just say it was a great discussion, but hopefully, we have to put something together. I think I'll have to write something to get out of this, and set it out. Kiddies is there, Esther is there, you guys are there. Let's come out of it is that the brain drain is not, and there are articles out there and there are videos out there which I've looked at whereby brain drain is not something which is negative. Depends on how you look at it.
Yes.
Because the brains link with other brains. You understand?
Yes.
They talk about
Silvern, you know, I was talking to Damon Crawford today, because I don't want him to come on the program today. But if currently in the States that I do some business.
One more Sheldon.
Silver need prayer.
We can go into Bangarang now. The other day, your friend, the minister, said Damon was in London shelling donging.
But swear this thing is still a stream, don't it? I'm not listening live, you know.
Corey, hold on, but listen to the whole thing. I then posted up a picture with me, Damien, and David Chen at that event, Corey, 2012.
Yes.
Yes,
O2, yeah.
And it was and said, we were there, but he wasn't shell donging.
Silvern, Damien said something to me today which was very interesting, right? And I think Corey said so earlier. Damien said, warm to the uneducated persons if they don't have brain to do them the brain
exactly.
Right? Because remember, a lot of persons who also migrate, and I think the vast majority of people who migrate are for persons who don't have tertiary education. Right?
That is so true. That is so true.
Windrush.
Exactly. That's what you were talking about.
That is so true.
And so how do we categorize these group of people then? It's not brain drain then?
But hello, there is brain drain. Whether they have a tertiary level education or not, it is still brain drain.
Listen, Jacqueline, Jamaicans are the best at whatever they do.
Exactly.
If they're bad,
it's bad.
So therefore, the Jamaican brain's sharp. It's everywhere I go in England, and I walk on the road anywhere. I'm gonna say Jamaican, yo, where I say, boss, I'm an easy father, and the connection is right there, man. That's a brain, man. That's a brain.
But not only
that, nothing that A in the brain, a brain. You know?
Not even that. The work ethics that we have and the morals that when we go to work. When you go to work in America, and depends on the qualification, you'll have the same qualification with another person. That Jamaican work ethic stands out.
Yes.
Every time.
It stands out. And most of the time.
Vita, let me share a story with you. I was talking to a friend of mine and talking about a medical doctor that was in a hospital in the US. And people started placing bets because when he saw persons would line up, Americans would line up to come to see him, especially the seniors.
Yeah.
And he was there on an internship. And while he was there on the internship and persons came in, every time he diagnosed something without the technology, nurses started placing a bet to see how much he would get it right after the test. And he would just sit down and have conversation with these patients and ask questions. and you would be able to say to them, okay, fine, this is the issue. Send go to the test, and every time the test come back, he was there.
Yes.
Right? And people just start line up to see this doctor one.
That's
this
not the point.
doctor who is diagnosing you without sending you for do this. All of these tests.
Yes, that's what I do. I recruit doctors, and when any Jamaican born visitors in Jamaica, get them through, because that mentality of where we are and the level. What we have this thing about passionate about what we do. If we sweep in the street, it's gonna be passionate in the street, and that's how we work, and that's why we are in demand. We are our resources, just like the coconut or the whatever. We are our resources. And that's what we need to be proud of ourselves and proud of our brain that the rest of the world wants.
Exactly.
Negative.
And our hard working determination to achieve.
Yeah. Well, guys, listen, I want to wrap up now, but I want to play this video. The reason why I didn't want to play it before, just in case there's a copyright, and if there's a copyright thing, then it can be cut off at the end and won't affect the whole thing if they come back. But I want to close it with this video about what is brain drain. So that's it. Okay.
Yes.
Good night. Yeah.
Good night, Thank you so much.
All right. Good stuff. But don't go. We're gonna watch this video first, yeah. And I can get it up. I'm confused now to next year. When we do. Sorry, turn on the music. That is one.
Yes, that's the first thing.
And then I think I have to mute you guys after I think. Okay, here we go.
Countries around the world are competing for resources, and prime among those resources is human capital. When talent consistently leaves the country of birth for opportunities abroad, it creates a persistent drag on the home country's economy and blights its growth, a phenomenon recognized as brain drain. While brain drain affects the developed world, England, for example, sees over 1.1 million university graduates living and working outside of the country. The pain is most keenly felt in developing countries. A high proportion of high-skilled immigrants do not return to the home country. Overall, up to 1/5 of students who study abroad do not come back, at least not immediately. And there is evidence that those who go for their master's and PhD are least likely to return. An estimated 70% of Chinese students who study overseas never return to their homeland, and around half of African inventors live outside their home country. Due to brain drain, talent becomes scarce, more expensive, and hard to retain, and companies begin chasing few qualified individuals, triggering the cost of talent to become exorbitantly high. One temptation in handling the immigration of those educated out of the country might be to pull back on education initiatives, which could have negative side effects. Migration has been one of the major contributors to the development of the most talent-ready countries such as Singapore, Switzerland, and Canada. Also, the possibility of earning higher income encourages people to take education more seriously and to aspire for higher education. Furthermore, immigration of those who enter the talent pool has been found to stimulate the development of human capital, and if they do return home, they bring back useful skills and professional networks back with them. So instead of pulling back, success stories in dealing with brain drain are more attributed to factors beyond the realm of migration policy, such as strong economic growth and relative political stability. Taiwan managed to lure back immigrants from Silicon Valley and build a thriving electronics and technology industry through other tactics. First, actively networking with the Taiwanese diaspora to promote their return. Second, subsidizing vocational rather than advanced education so that returnees would find a ready labor force, who in turn would benefit from their initiatives. And third, the creation of science parks that replicated the Silicon Valley environment and lifestyle that the returnees were used to. The best policies for encouraging brain circulation and investment from the diaspora is creating business-friendly policies that encourage entrepreneurship. Quality of life also plays a great role in the decision of immigrants returning. Modern housing, good school options for families, and effective healthcare systems all register as priorities for potential returnees. Additionally, returning immigrants would want to view their return as a personal opportunity rather than an obligation to their home country. Therefore, the more personal and professional growth opportunities they see in their homeland, and the more open their home country is to the international community, the more the returnees believe they can remain part of the larger world and still stay in their home country.
Well, there we are. That's a quick little overview there that shows the positive aspect
How
of.
many of you are familiar
Sorry,
with
let me
the
just
term
stop this here.
brain?
Sil, look at the comment that was made by Jody Marie Bahari.
Yes, no brain drain. We are developing trained and certificate individuals at international standards.
Jody, yes, Jody. Where's she at?
Talk about it.
Yes, Jody.
She's from
Yes.
Ochiria.
Well said.
She's from
Well
Ochiria.
said.
Straight out of Ochi.
Who says a Leicester?
No. I'm an adopted Ochiris person.
Corey, did you know? Corey, did you know that Leicester come from Ochi?
Wait, Leicester. Yeah, Ochi, man.
Since the 22nd of July.
Since it.
So
you a new country still, so don't worry about it.
When he sees this picture, when he sees this picture, he puts his hands up now. He feels comfortable with this picture now, Corey.
Hey, show Leicester with airport now, man. Just
I'm not one there. But ask what the guy name again. The Mary, St. Mary MP. You know, let's say. I'm sure Leicester has been up there with him. One picture.
You mean Robert?
Yeah,
Chairman.
Chairman. I'm so surprised you never call him by his pet name,
Bobby.
What Vanessa, the man?
Next thing you said B. You mean B? You mean B? You mean B?
Me and him have the same Oberman uncle, you know.
What kid is
Jesse at Home Depot say you have migrated to Ochi.
Yes, because the Ochi citizenship.
Where the first this very man?
No. The MP, Marsha Clark, Marsha Smith, has sworn me in recently when I was in Jamaica.
Did she?
Yes.
You put the hands up and say,
yes. I have the
he have videos and pictures
to show you.
Yeah, but I didn't give that permission. I didn't give that ultimate permission.
No, that's the MP.
No, man, look, Silburn, the border's slack, man. What's going on, Silburn?
What is song with Danger Man sing Border Clash?
Okay, West Kingston has now suffered a great brain drain, you know, because I have migrated to Ocherius, you know. Right? I have migrated to Ocherius. Greener pastures. Right? There are more opportunities.
Wait a second. No pun intended. Greener pastures. No pun intended.
Corey.
Oh my days! Did I write greener pastures on this thing here?
Corey.
He says greener pastures on my show, you know. Greener pastures are meant to.
Leicester.
Corey. Since our president has migrated also, right?
Rev, what do you have to say about these conversation, man?
Right? Yeah, President of West Kingston has migrated, you know, so let me left too.
What a mass deportation.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'm on the internet. I'm on the internet.
Corey, it's your cars on Corey. Because anytime Reverend Gary, wife asks him where I'm there.
I'm on the internet.
The status I'm going to put on my tablet, my phone after this finish. Ask me where I am. I'm on the internet.
I'm on the internet.
See, I can't make that. I can't make it. Just for me there. Right? Just for me there. Because
where were you all day today?
As far as I'm concerned, you're screeching across the border. You depend on some screechy thing. You depend on some screechy moves, sir.
But Corey, as long as you don't depend on the border line, you know that.
Never.
I have no idea what those conversations are about. He's a Christian.
Mrs. Start message me now, so.
Vita, your coach less.
Vita, you're supposed to be setting, and you're supposed to be making things a bit mellowed, not getting worse.
I am working on it, Silver. The submissiveness is not the easiest part.
Who did the counseling? I forgot to see that minister there, Who did counsel who?
Let's
Did you counsel the minister?
After 3 counseling, let's fire.
And mark you, the Oprah's passport or whatever is still conditional for how long? Corey, 6 months again, and then we can say the passport is official.
Look, man, 3 months. No, man, 3 months stamp, man. Review.
3 months stamp to review.
Review after 3 months. There's going to be a review after 3 months.
Single entry.
Listen, man. My links them big, Don't watch it there, My links them big, All right.
No, boss.
He took Silver and he took over Ochi. He took over Ochi like there was nothing, like it was a situation like they went out and recruited him for Ochi.
My God.
People were showing up in lines.
The Nigerians, they must say, Jesus is Lord.
Silver.
Yeah.
Silver.
Yeah.
So we get a particular pastor to do some, counseling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The man turned to be an arrangement man. We just fire him, but we say if I the green bread,
I don't understand that. I don't.
Stop fire the pastor.
So what are they?
When God come back in, God not gonna say green go one side and orange go one side.
Orange go one side. I'm in total agreement.
God gave men the knowledge to make money green. God is very smart. So
Silburn, hold on. Vita. Go a little bit closer to Lester. Just no. Yeah. Okay.
Orange.
All right.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
Listen, I didn't realize.
It can't come off, Lester. Did it come off, Lester? Lester, did it come off?
It's unwillingly.
You are. Hey, Lester.
Listen, guys,
the ring come out too quick, man. Vita seat.
I said the show finished in 2 minutes, 30 minutes ago,
Yeah, that's what we said.
Yes,
but it's been wonderful. That's wonderful.
Well,
Lester,
I'll go one step for you.
Oh my word!
It's not. Listen, I'm gonna have to. It looks like my every night. Every time.
Pastor starts sweat.
Silver. What you do, Silver? No, Silver. What kind of color that? Oh.
Yeah, man.
You see, the good thing about this now is that everybody reach a point where this yob politics is phasing out, and people can have common sense conversation about the party that them support. It's more of policies now. To me, that it's kind of evolving, and kudos to people like Lester and even to Silver. Right?
Even to Silver, like
Corey, we're returning to what used to be. We're going back to what used to be, because when my mom and my granddad talk about them used to walk across the line and sweep and laugh and joke. There's a couple in my church
I can't
that
find the colors.
they told their story of them meeting at a political meeting. One was on the other side and the other one was on the other side, and yet still they became one.
That is it, Jackie. Because I mean, my grandmother, go back to even crash program. She used to run one of the biggest crash program in the constituency. right? And bar none, everybody I get work. Every single
Exactly.
soul I get work.
Yes.
My father used to rent a Portland, you know. You understand me?
Yes, man.
My father PMP, my mom talk that all the while.
But I'm telling you.
But Corey, you see what has happened, and because persons are so turned off from the political process, we have seen how the political turnout, the voter turnout, is embarrassingly low.
Right.
Persons are so disgusted by the traditional way of how politics is done that the voter turnout is low. And I expect that in the coming years for the local government and the central government elections, it's going to be even lower.
Yep.
It's going to be even lower. You know, and I am putting the blame squarely at my party now because of them in the power. Them have to do something to change the narrative and change the outlook on politics.
Right, that is true. But you see, Lester is translator politics that that aspect of it is missing right now. It's more representational and who can mass the most numbers. But hardly anybody kind of translating the policies to people who really have the time of day to listen, which is the so-called common man. He wants to understand all of this jargon, He wants to be a part of the conversation,
Corey, at my wedding reception, Marsha Smith, I said to her, the finance minister has been saying and doing a lot of wonderful things, but the common man on the ground don't understand a thing where I say. Many persons inbox me, and I feel break down. And I say, listen, it don't make sense. You are the world are good, and for who you're supposed to do it for, it is not. Them don't understand. If they're not applying for the programs, if they're not applying for the benefits, if they're not understand what you're saying, they'll waste your time.
Lester, you and I need to speak off the air.
Yeah, man, make Silver give me a number, man.
Yeah, I'll do that. All right, guys.
All right, good.
It was always a pleasure.
It was wonderful. Right. Thanks, Sil.
Great discussion.
Pick up a new home, Ocherius.
Yeah, man. We're gonna spread up the internet, Look how more we're gone.
All right. Cheers, Corey. Jacqueline, have a good night. Thanks for joining us.
Silver.
Jacqueline, just to let you know, a social worker.
It was a pleasure.
A social worker.
Counseling.
Yeah.
What was that, Sil?
A social worker was on, and she said I'm going to link her with you. She's from the UK.
No problem. Yeah,
definitely as well.
And Silver, right, I'm going to link Pastor Reverend for counseling.
Okay, no problem. I get the fees, Remember, you have to pay. I get the fees for that.
All my dues go to Belmont Road,
Harry, take care of yourself. Have a good night, yeah?
All right, man. You take care.
Blessings, yeah.
Blessings, guys. Blessings. Take care. Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was a long one. That's a good night. I'm a socialist and can engage with anyone. That's cool, Marva. Bless you. And Jesse, take care of yourself. For everyone who came on tonight, for those on Instagram, those on Facebook, those on YouTube, it was a good show. Went over time, but hey, it's good when we're having fun. Jamaicans from all over the world, just having a conversation. And I guess brain drain is not so bad as we thought it was. Sounds sometimes bad. Brain drain sounds a bit negative, but really and truly, when you check it out, there's a very positive aspect to it. And people have a right to decide where they want to live, how they want to develop themselves, the empowerment. And the most powerful thing, which was said by Jody tonight, which said, no brain drain. We are developing trained and certificate individuals at international level and standards. Okay, Claudine, thank you so much for joining, and everyone else who made a contribution. Vanessa, Kiddies, and everybody else. Okay, so good night, and thank you very much. It was a good one.